Thank you for our listeners. Thank you, Brother Noel. Dr. Campbell shared such wonderful information yesterday, shared some great prompts. We're putting everything in a package. And then tomorrow we are going to be, well, this is me. Hold on. All right. Sorry. Um, sorry, I just hit the live stream button, so we're hearing two things going on. But the other thing is what's great about this opportunity is that we want you to come with your ideas. So you're hearing the prompts from yesterday. You're going to hear me speak, and you're going to hear Pastor Ferguson speak tomorrow morning. But we want you to come with your ideas, your projects, what you want implemented. We will make ourselves available to show you the tools that can help you to learn about AI, to launch an online ministry, in terms of your digital tools. And then, of course, what I'm doing now is live streaming. Brother Noel is live streaming on audio in terms of radio on our internet. And I'm also live streaming on YouTube. So you see me kind of moving all over the place. It's because I have like 3 or 4 screens in front of me. But while let's get to the presentation. Give me 1 second. Oh, not that one. Where's my camera? So we are going to be talking about digital security. We're going to be talking about protocols and procedures, because for me, these things are foundational for every ministry. And if I can bring up my slide, so you can see. Okay, now let's do it this way. Okay, I found my link. Okay, then I can share so everybody can see what we're going to be presenting. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about, for me, these are like first things first. Okay, present, share my screen. And please let me know when you see the screen.
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we're going to lay some foundations. And we're going to talk about policy, passwords, procedures, protocols, and procedures. Yeah, that's a one-liner of who I am. I work in the field of architecture, but I can't call myself an architect. I'm a project manager, and I'm one of the leaders of Cabin Christian Response. I actually lead it, but I have a team, and we share responsibilities in quite a bit. So I just want us to go further in AI. All right, that's my about me slide. Okay. So I want us to go back to why we are in ministry and what is important for us to share with the world. What does it mean for you? I mean, yesterday Dr. Campbell spoke about sermon prep. You can also do some curriculum prep. You can also build discipleship content. For me, I tend to be in the area of media, music, and back of house. Back of house means helping to do a lot of the stuff that everyone, the administrative stuff. I've worked with several ministries and trained several ministries, helping them to set up their systems and protocols. For social media was one of them. That's how I got introduced to a number of you. But that wasn't the only thing that I was doing. I was doing setting up some of their not only setting up their social media, but also setting up how they run their Sunday service, setting up programs, hospitality, all of that. And sometimes when you have a small team, you're still trying to figure out, well, I don't have a multi-million dollar facility. I don't have 20 or even 30 or 100 people on staff. How can I still have that big impact? And one of the things that is important is having good tools, is having good systems and protocols. And so I dived a little deeper in social media. I dived a little deeper in ministry tools because I believe that they would help us to get more into being able to do what the Lord has called us to do. So a lot of church leaders, even though they're online, even though they're trying to be online, they don't pay attention to their digital privacy. They don't pay attention to um, their guidelines. They don't pay attention to how it is safe online, not for all of their members, including the little ones. And some ministries have dived into the technology aspect, maybe more than some, because especially if you have a small team, you're trying to figure out how to be everywhere. And one of the things that I've helped ministries do is to kind of help guide that, streamline that from just doing it, by themselves, or maybe they have an assistant, or maybe they have a team that's less than 10. So not many ministries, like, let me just ask this question now. How many of you actually use AI in your ministry or in your operations? Let me maybe just put it out in the chat. Okay, we have Brother Noel, and Brother Noel yesterday, Sister Olivine, we've heard she was a wonderful speaker during the Go conference. Anybody else? Well, here's my next question. For those of you who raised your hands, how many of you have policies and a guideline so that anybody who is representing your ministry can follow with regards to how you use your AI? Show of hands. Is that no hands, or is that, everybody?
My hand isn't up. No.
For me, no hands.
Well, and so I'm going to zero in on that number because not too many people have a guideline for their AI or their digital use set up. And that's one of the things that we're going to do today. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going to, is everybody okay? You got it, Pastor Ferguson? Thank you so much. That's one of the things that we're going to do. I want us to develop our guidelines. I want us to think a little bit about what those protocols and procedures would include. So for me, let's go back to my roadmap. Thank you. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about, basic policy and governance setup, protocols, passwords. Passwords is a very interesting topic for me because I remember one time I was invited to speak at a ministry, and then help them set up their social media, And my number one question, and I always start with this, it says, well, who has the passwords for your social media accounts? And the answer I got was Sister so-and-so's daughter set up the account, but now she's gone off to college, and we have to reach out to Sister so-and-so for her to contact her daughter for the password to get on their Facebook page. So you can see how problematic that could be. How many of you have the passwords for your social media?
My team is one. And so, yes, we have it.
You have it. Okay. Brother Noel, Sister Olivine? Okay. Now, how many of you have shared that password with your team members?
I'm not.
Okay. You have not, Brother Noel? Hands raised. Okay. Um, what if how many of you know how to set up the passwords for your social media? I'm going to give you some very specific examples. Your Facebook, your Instagram, and your YouTube. How many of you know how to share that password without actually giving away that password?
I'm doing so for Facebook, but not for YouTube.
Okay.
I do not know how to do any of that.
Okay. Because sometimes when you're part of it, when you're building a team, you don't always want to be the one, let's say, posting online or updating your website or updating posting on your YouTube. Um, and so what you can do, and I'm going to give the example for Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp to a lesser extent. And the reason I'm mentioning Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp is because they are owned by the same company. And so because they're owned by the same company, they have allowed for certain things to kind of cross over. Many of you have noticed when you post your WhatsApp now, it's sometimes linked to your Facebook page and your Instagram. So yes, setting up your passwords, your protocols for safe interactions. One of the policies that I have, and I try to share this with a lot of ministries, is when you're dealing with small children, um, you and let's say you're at a picnic or a community day. I try not to share pictures of children online. It's just a policy that I've followed. Why? Because there are predators and people online. So there are protocols in place where you can ask the parents' permission to post the picture of a child online. Um, you can blur out, take those really far pictures and make it blurry so you're not seeing the children's faces. So there are different scenarios. Now, I'm in the US, so that is a little bit more of a stickler for me. I know the Caribbean, Jamaica, Trinidad, they don't have those strict policies, but I always find that it's safe to actually protect the children online. When you are, let's say you are teaching a class online for the children, every program that I run and a child under 18 is involved, there is a sign-up sheet that has the parents agreeing for them to participate in that online space. Okay, so these are the certain things that you can put in place to protect the church and to protect children. And then, of course, writing it down. I'm going to share that a policy, a process where we can maybe write down or operational steps and procedures. That's going to be in the detailed workshop for tomorrow, but we're going to talk about it and I'm going to send that out to you guys as well. So you'll have that for tomorrow. Okay. So before you build anything, absolutely govern it. The thing about building your online presence is that you need to understand where you're going to be online and how you're going to be online. We already spoke a little bit about the passwords and the protocols, but I just wanted for us to rethink how we engage in an online space. So I know everybody's like, oh, but isn't this about AI and using the tools and stuff? Absolutely. We want you to use the tools. But today I'm sharing more about how to use the tools safely for you and your ministry and for children if you are going to engage with children and the youth online. And so, we have the overall policies, and that's usually from the leadership. So I actually have a training called Digital Leadership where I walk pastors through how to engage with their media team and to make certain that even though you're handing it off to someone who's maybe more techie than you, that you still maintain an overall oversight how you want your teams to engage. So you would have policies in place, and the protocols are, of course, for, let's say, you have a protocol for how to, after every sermon, the media team will then generate some reels, some shorts. The media team will also generate the transcripts, just various systems and protocols to understand how the media team will maybe handle after every Sunday, a sermon. And then, of course, those protocols is what type of tools you're going to use and how you're going to engage with them. So I don't want to talk too much because I really want to just lay some foundational things, because there are certain things that your oversight as a ministry leader is important. The congregation, when you want to make certain that whatever you're sharing online is in alignment with your ministry and what God has given to you to share. Your data is also an important thing. Data is a big word in the AI world. Why? Because really that's the information that the AI is being trained on. So whenever you are using these digital platforms, you're pretty much given access to your records, whether, financial, of course, most people are very secure with their financial records. But what about prayer requests? What about counseling notes? What about your member information? How do you manage that data, especially when you go online? And then how do you, for me, some churches don't even have systems in place to gather, member information and prayer requests. And, they don't have that. Most have for financial records, but when you get into maybe some of those things that are important in the running of your ministry, you don't have that set up. For me, I always include how do you handle the minors in your care, especially in an online space. There are just certain things that you can set in place. So let's just okay. So these are some of the things. I'm going to give you this list because I really want you guys to think of what tools are you allowed to use, as a ministry. Let's say you as a pastor says we're only going to use Chat GPT, and somebody says, no, I think I should use Claude. I know right now everybody's like, oh, what's Chat? By now we know what Chat GPT is, Claude is. But what about protecting certain data? You don't want an online tool used on certain parts of your data. You can protect that, but you have to determine what that is. So let's say if you're in a Zoom room and you're talking to a child, like I have recording features on my Zoom room, and I have on my Zoom, and I also have transcribing. So one of the things that I do is when I have a prayer meeting, depending on the type of prayer meeting or meetings, I don't record it, right? I turn off my recording and I don't transcribe it. Or I ask for permission. Is it okay to transcribe this because I want to get some notes, meeting notes after this? So you have certain policies and procedures that you can put in place. If you're doing, let's say, a youth meeting online, you can and turn off all of the direct messaging, so adults don't message the youth and have these separate conversations. You can turn off the break room so that there's no that somebody isn't pulled into a room. Digitally, these things happen. And then, of course, what we dealt with at the Go conference, how can you handle when you're getting Zoom bombed? So there are certain ways and systems that you have. One of the things that I put in place, and I had explained to the team at a Go conference, is I was doing an event for someone a few years ago, after 2020, you get called, hey, I have a conference, I have this. And I said, oh, I like to always put you in a waiting room. And they said, no, we just want our people to be able to just come straight in. We don't want anybody to feel that they have to be in a waiting room. Again, this is things that I always did, but because, the ministry asked me to do this, I said, okay, let's, I took off the waiting room. And then we got photobombed. And it was so bad because it wasn't just one person. It was actually, I think, about 4 or 5. They all like came in. And because of that, we basically had to shut the meeting down, and we had to clear out the room. I had to put a waiting room in place. And I also, there were some settings on Zoom that we all know that only hosts can share. I turned anybody who didn't have a video on, so I went through all these things just to make certain that we were safe online. So these are just some of the questions that can help. You'll get all these questions because right now you're not going to be answering them. We're going to go into that tomorrow. What kind of tools you want to use, who approves the tools. So sometimes, and I've worked with media teams, they think this is a cool tool and they just implement the tool on the church's system, right? And they never asked the pastor if this was okay. Them just say, oh, this is a free tool. I just go and use it and you just see how it go. Well, that new tool corrupted the what do you call it? The computer. And then the church lost access to the computer, right? Because that tool wasn't vetted, the tool wasn't approved, and they thought it was just a free tool, no harm, no foul, because you're not costing the ministry anything. So I'm asking these questions because I want us to think, even though a lot of the tools are out there, we want to make certain that you're setting up like checks and balances so that you're safe, because even though these things can protect you later down the road, this can protect you now, it can also, when you have a team or other people working with you, to help them understand what type of tools you use and how you use it. Who reviews the AI content before it comes out? Let's say the media team was charged to do sermon notes, right? And the sermon notes was to put together, we're going to use the AI tool. Did the media team just send out the sermon notes to everybody? Or did the pastor who did the sermon reviewed it, or his secretary reviewed it, or the assistant reviewed it? Did that happen? Do you have that system in place? Or you just said you know what, I just finished the sermon, put it together, send out my reels, send out, So these are some of the checks and balances that will help. And then, of course, who's the one in charge of the policies and who's the one who updates it? Things to think about. I'm going to pause here, just ask a question. Have anybody ever considered all of these things when you're using your AI tools for your ministry?
I'm not considering it.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, Marsha. I was going to say tonight, well, first of all, good evening, everyone. This is Kat Carlton speaking right now. Marsha, I wanted to ask you a question because I just heard you say, it made me think because I record my prayers, on my prayer, when I have my prayer sessions. And I never thought about, and I send them out. I send my AI notes out. But one thing I wanted to, that just struck me when you said it, that I don't ask or I don't share that it's going to be publicized. So I think that's something that I need to consider, because, like you said, sometimes people have private prayers, and I do you send a transcription out, but that's one of the things I picked up on, that you said, and I'm going to start saying that before, at my prayer sessions, that it is being recorded, and if there's anything that you have personal that you don't want to share with the public, then take that into consideration. So thank you for bringing that out, Marcia. Thank you.
You're welcome. And sometimes it's, the Zoom actually is pretty good, the Zoom AI, where you don't necessarily have to send the transcript out. You can send like a recap or meeting notes. And I have a list of questions that I always ask after my meeting. Um, And I'll share that with you. I tell the AI recap all the key topics, who said what, if there were any scriptures. Like for me, I love to write scripture down, but I don't sometimes, when you're dealing with certain people who know a lot of scripture, right, Brother Noel and Pastor Ferguson. And I think I see Rickon in the group as well. Like, and they drop scriptures like nobody's business. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to write this down. I would then say to my notes, I would say list all of the scripture references that was mentioned, um, and things like that. And I would say, the other thing I would say, is there any action items? So it could be a meeting, it could be a prayer. Maybe there was something, a prophetic word that someone says. I know we like to share prophetic words and all of that. So there are different ways that we can do what you're doing, Sister Kat, and I'm certain it's a blessing. But yes, there are times when there's personal information that you do have to consider to, especially with the person, you can always edit it, just cut it out, and you can say this is an edited transcript of the meeting. Not all of what was said is here, or however you want to phrase it, so people know that you did edit this and it's not a exact transcript of everything that went on during the meeting. So I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
So you don't need an IT department. Why? Because sometimes ministries are limited to just the pastor making these decisions. Maybe you have, sister so-and-so, maybe you have an assistant, maybe you have a team member, maybe you have a board that you have to report to. Maybe there is somebody who is gung-ho for technology, and they're the point person. You can pull together people within your ministry, within your church, and put this AI governance together internally, and you don't have to tell everybody all of what you do, but you can share that amongst your team so that they know, okay, any tool that is going to be used for the ministry, the pastor has to approve it. If there's a subscription, I know the church that I'm a part of here, if there's a subscription, there's a volunteer says, Pastor, I really like using this tool. It makes my job easier. They paid for it, and I'll tell you about the free. The free isn't always good, because it doesn't always protect you when you have to deal with attacks, when you have to deal with breaches to the protocols. It doesn't always protect you when your data is shared to everyone and you want to protect your own data. So, we talked about those pillars. So passwords. Okay, so shared logins, you can go to Facebook, and in Facebook and Instagram, there is a way that you can maintain your main password, and then you can add someone as an editor. So they don't have admin rights. You don't give someone admin rights who is not, either the main person who is handling the social media. Why? Because they can shut you out and you can lose access, right? And I've had that. I've had to deal with a ministry who couldn't find the person who set up their Facebook pages, and they had to redo their Facebook, they had to redo their Google, they had to redo all the different things because they couldn't access their Facebook. Yes, Pastor Ferguson?
Yes, I have a number of friends on Facebook, and I wanted to give someone in the church access to my Facebook page, right? Because I need to post some stuff regularly on it. Can that be done? Can that be done on a normal Facebook page, or it has to be a business Facebook page?
It has to be a business Facebook page. I'm actually was going to show you guys how to do that. Yes, Sister Kat?
Yes, Sister Marsha. I've had experiences in the past, and I'm still having problems with that, with the password because so often you have to change the password. I get all confused, mixed up. I can't remember which password was here, which one was there. I got a tons of, every place needs a password, and it's just like, do you have any tips of just, how to do that, make it more easier to remember?
Okay. This page look familiar?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
All right. So when you go to your Facebook page, there's this wonderful thing called Meta Business Suite.
Uh-huh.
So you go here. So not professional dashboard, not your insights. You go all the way down and you go here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you, because this is a meta, with Pastor Ferguson and I, we're working on this. If you have your Instagram, you can link your Instagram and then you can post from one place to both your Facebook and your Instagram.
Hmm.
Okay?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
You can go into your settings
Oh, sorry.
and then you can go into your authorizations. Okay? There are certain things that you can do here. I'm going to kind of pull this away so not everybody can see what's going on here. Let's see. Where did you go? It's kind of difficult to see this part. All right, so there are different ways you can give people access. I'm just trying to show you guys how you can open it up and give them, oh my goodness. What's it doing? Okay, it is not allowing me to do that. I will do snapshots and send you that, have that ready because screens are, all right, let me just come out of this. All right, so I will walk you through, remind me, Sister Kat, to show you how to go in your Facebook account, go to your Facebook business suite. Yes, you can connect to Instagram, and then, so you're not giving someone access to your Instagram, you're not giving someone access to your Facebook, then you can then add your, invite other people to edit and to, the two levels in addition to the admin. And so and it gives you different access, and they can post for you and they can edit. So one level you can post, but you can't edit. And then the other level you can post and edit. And then above that is the admin where you can, if let's say someone who used to do all the social media is no longer at your ministry, you can then just take them off the list and they wouldn't have your passwords or access to any of your social media pages. This is mainly for Facebook and Instagram. There's a way to do it for YouTube if you want someone to post on your YouTube for your ministry. And so, but you have to use a third party to give them access, because if not, because YouTube is linked to an email, then you're essentially giving them access to your email. So I've used third-party tools, let's say like StreamYard or Zoom also. You can do it in Zoom, but of course this is a direct link. And so since it's already set up, then that person can post on your YouTube, but you don't give them access to your email and access to your YouTube account. Make sense?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sister Marsha.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Is that helping anyone aside from Sister Cat?
The information is important because I
Mm-hmm.
plan to broaden my reach on social media. So learning these things help me actually.
And they're third-party tools. So we're going to get, I'm going to talk a little bit more about they're third-party tools that you can give access to your team, but you don't have to give out your passwords.
Sister Olivine, I think you're unmuting.
Well,
Sister
I was going
Olivine.
to ask for the names of some of those third-party tools.
Yes. So I just showed you. So Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, uses what I just showed you, which is the business suite. And what Meta does is Meta connects everything. So if your Facebook and your Instagram, I think to the lesser extent WhatsApp, but they do have WhatsApp on there, then you can just you can add them via that tool. So that is integrated into Facebook. Not too many, Facebook doesn't always play nice. Meta doesn't always play nice with other third-party tools. So I always use their local tool because I have less issues with what I need to post or anything like that. For your, let's say your YouTube. So let's say the ways you can use Zoom, because Zoom you can have it already connected, and then there's StreamYard. So a software like StreamYard that can do live streaming. You can already connect to, let's say, live streaming to Facebook, to YouTube. I don't know if they have TikTok. Instagram is always funky. But the main one, of course, is the Facebook and the YouTube. You can pre-populate that and give pre-access within those tools. And so anybody who's using those tools can push it out through that third-party tool. If you are repurposing videos, you can use your Opus. And Opus, if once you go into your account, you would also have access. And I will walk you through that tomorrow. I'm trying to kind of navigate these two screens to kind of show you some of the stuff. But if I can't get to it, then I'll be ready for that tomorrow. So you can go into like Opus, and this is just one of the tools. There are many tools, but Opus is a tool that can take, let's say, your ministry sermon, a video, and it can repurpose, and you can tell it to generate some shorts or generate some reels. And then what it will do, it also has a scheduler. And so you can give access to your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, I think TikTok, and it can push it out through the tool, and you can schedule the tools as well. Facebook also allows you to do scheduling. So we'll get into all of that, but these are just some of the ways that you can use third-party tools. And Opus can give you access to maybe a team of 2 or 3. So maybe you only give them access to the Opus account, and then they can go in and schedule and post for you. And also StreamYard is good for live streaming. Oh, and let me go back to this. And yes, okay, so we have what, 12 minutes? When you have someone who is leaving your ministry, also you need protocols and, how do you deal with that exit? Many of us work in administration, in corporate, in businesses, and these systems are already in place, right? Tell me you've experienced this in academia or in corporate or in businesses. Let me know, guys. Because I don't think this is strange for what I'm sharing. Go ahead.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
for sure,
Yes.
Marsha, for sure. I mean,
But
when you're coming out of if you're exiting a company, they lock you out, and you don't have access. As a matter of fact, sometimes even if you resign the same day, And don't
Mhm.
and you give them even a 2-3 weeks notice. The same day them lock you out. I said, no, it's okay, we'll pay you, but we don't want you to stay and have access to our stuff. And I think someone like David who used to work in IT, he would know that, So for sure, what you're saying is right on target.
Well, I used to work at a bank, and the banks are for sure does that. In fact, you give them the notice, and you try to sign on a day after for something that is, you notice you're being limited in what you can access.
Yeah. So how many ministries have people who used to be members years down the road and they still can go and log in, to certain areas in the ministry, especially in online. So these are the certain things that will help us um, in terms of how we govern our ministries. I am a strong advocate of strong passwords. You're not supposed to be able to guess the password. So before we talk about the access, now the second one is having strong passwords and changing your passwords. I have every quarter I change up my passwords. I have and I write my passwords down in a book. It is not on my laptop. It is not on a file. This is just me. You don't have to do it, but you can protect your passwords however you want. But change your passwords often. Write it down. Yep. And so, yeah, I want you guys, I know this is like common sense kind of thing. You're like, why is Marsha talking about this? Because I think a lot of us kind of, once we get into ministry, there's certain hats we just kind of take it off. The wisdom hat sometimes go somewhere else. The common sense sometimes goes somewhere else. And I'm not saying you're not wise, and I'm not saying you don't know how to run a good ministry. I'm saying that when it comes to the digital space, sometimes people say because they don't understand technology that they kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I want us to kind of reel back in safe protocols for us to have in our ministries, good password systems, you know. When this says, MFA, these are just certain like double verifications when you sign in, the apps that you're using, and train your team. Go over all of this with your team. These are things that happens in the corporate spaces, are things that happens in the bank, things that happen in academic space, absolutely needs to also happen in our ministry space. And so, like have certain things, certain protocols. I'm going to just go through the slides because I think I talked a little bit at the beginning about a lot of these things. But yes, have your protocols in place, especially about sensitive data. We all know what happens when offering collect, right? What happens in the church when offering collect? You can unmute and share. What happens?
A few the same persons with the ushers carry to a special room.
Right. And you have somebody at the door, right? Blocking. Nobody can go in that room, right? Because the
There you
collective
go.
money, right.
A tall usher.
So I want us to think about our data in the same way online, that we are protective of it. We're protective when people entrust their financial information to us, when their prayer needs, their information. The children, I want us to be that sensitive as well when it comes to this online space. Even as we're learning about these AI tools, even as we're learning about how to use them, I also want us to use them safely. Understand who is what tools are approved, what tools we don't use. There's certain tools I don't use. The other night, Dr. Campbell and Pastor Ferguson and Brother Noel, we were all like talking, and I mentioned, yeah, I don't deal with no tool that come out of this particular country. And they were like, wow, but it's a good tool. It is an absolute great tool. I am not disputing that. I just know that my data is not safe. Why? And now I can share why. I got hacked. I got hacked. I got shut out of my Facebook, my Instagram, my LinkedIn. And, and I still don't have my original Facebook page, so that's why some of you see a different name at the end. It's my married name, so I'm not trying on anybody. But yeah, I lost Marsha McDonald, right? And I was on Facebook for 20 plus years, right? 20 plus years. I'm putting them picture because my oldest is like 22 now, you know? I mean, I have it backed up somewhere, but I'm just trying to explain to you. Sometimes you don't realize what happens until you lose it, or your computer shut down because it gets attacked, your Facebook or your ministry page get lost because somebody walk off with your password, or you lost your social media where you've been live streaming for 20 plus years and now you shut down, or you get banned off YouTube. I've gotten, all of these things has happened to me. So I have stories to tell. So when I'm sharing about these things, I just want you to kind of rethink. And then I also love to investigate AI. So I realize, okay, I want to jump into this particular. I know I have 5 minutes, Brother Noel, but I just want to say, don't hand off everything to an AI tool. Always have somebody who is kind of, and the reason I'm saying that, and this is, Dr. Campbell can attest to this, is that there are things now out with the AI world that basically some people can just give one instruction and they don't check back, because they're called AI agents, where they're AI agents, they will keep going until they get the actual task done. So that means they can go on your computer and they can open up your browsers. They can, let's say you say, okay, I want to go on a trip to Jamaica. Yes, I do. Or to Brazil. And I say, hey, book me the flight. Fine. I want to only fly American Airlines. Make certain I have a car and my hotel and stuff. And I can give that instruction. Not me typing in and doing, but I can give my instruction to an AI agent, and they can open up all my browsers, and I have it linked to my credit card. They can book everything, and then I don't check it until I get a message. Oh, everything is ready. There's some people who have the AI set up like that. Fine, if that's what you want to do. Me, I want to say, I said, I want you to look up all of the stuff, but before you purchase anything, or before, or I will purchase, send me the links, or have a thing where I need to approve. For our ministries, we need to have that in place, that we need to approve whatever you need to go, whatever you need to happen, you need to approve it. I'm going to stop right here because, we're at 3 minutes before the hour, and I want to give you guys time to kind of share. I will share the slides. Go ahead.
Just to let you know that we are on the radio stream. Jump into the Zoom room. The session is not over if you want to continue, but we're switching over to our Freedom Friday, which we had planned for 2 months in advance. So we'll be switching over. Remember, we continue to broadcast tomorrow. Go Tech Conference on Arrows Internet Radio. But if you want to continue this great workshop, jump into the Zoom room itself. We are going to be transitioning over. And great session, Minister Marsha, on behalf of the Arrows listeners. Wonderful. You whet our appetite for tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Brother Noel. Yes, so before we take a break, does anybody have any questions, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, Marsha, I do appreciate what you've been sharing, especially as a pastor in Jamaica. One of the things I've noticed is that people aren't so what's the word? They aren't as proactive when it comes to stuff like safeguarding our kids. And I know even when we told persons, even something as simple as when you're taking care of people in Sunday school, like they need to do like ministry safe or certifications and stuff like that. So when I heard you talking about protecting the identity and the images of kids. I was so happy because a lot of the times we're not thinking about that, how, the ways in which we're making our own kids vulnerable by posting images, especially in this kind of AI digital space. And then you're also touching on stuff like data protection, which is such a big deal these days. I mean, even in Jamaica, we now have passed the Data Protection Act, and now businesses are required to register as data controllers. So to hear you kind of laying this foundation, yes, some people might say, "Boy, this kind of boring," but you see, you have to understand it's boring until something reach you, as we would say in Jamaica, right? Until someone reach you, right? As you
Yeah,
say, when you
yeah.
get scam or somebody take away your identity and all of them, that's when you recognize that, whoa, this is important. So I'm really grateful that you took the time to talk about like passwords and the ways to secure our data and the way that we're thinking through these things. So I do appreciate it.
I just wanted to comment that my kids do not post their children pictures on
I
Facebook.
stopped. Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, even on WhatsApp, it only goes to the family group, or just us personal group. Why? Because my daughter works with one of the places she works is called Women in Distress. They help with people who have been human trafficked, other things like that. So they see it firsthand of
Mm-hmm.
kids being trafficked and people being trafficked. My sister worked with children protection agency in Florida. So they see firsthand these things happening, and they say it's more prevalent than I think. And so they don't put the kids' pictures on Facebook or Instagram, and they only keep it on the family WhatsApp. And
Yeah.
they're very funny about that.
Yeah. I do two things. I stopped sharing. I stopped sharing about birthdays for my kids, and then we can take a pause here, but I stopped sharing birthdays. I stopped sharing actual pictures. I think in the past I had like when they were younger, and I only would share either to protected groups or stories. And I would even limit that. So it's not like all and sundry, maybe every once in a while I would post a story about my children, but it's not like on a living post as well. So there's so many things that are happening. And I wanted to include this part just because of this is a way that, and I'm going to share you some stories that you guys might like rethink even how we allow our children online. And I'm not saying do not, I'm saying put the guardrails in place because you have to protect them.
Minister Marsha, on the changing the passwords,
Mhm.
I have a password keeper. I have a password that generates passwords called Keeper. And
Mhm.
so when you're saying change it, are you generating your own passwords and then writing them down and storing
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, but that's just me. I'm not I'm not going to tell you the process to use. I'm just saying change it.
Okay.
You know, if you
Okay.
have, there's some people have like LastPass, where you can save, it's, it's a house, I think Bitwarden is another one where you can include various accounts,
Mhm.
and, someone maybe you give you give access just to the Bitwarden or the LastPass, and then you can click
Okay.
any of the accounts, and those accounts, um, nobody sees it. So, the other thing that of what you have is also a good idea.
Let,
I
let, let, let
I
me ask
forget
you.
passwords. I
Let
forget
me,
passwords. So I have
let,
a
let,
different system.
let me ask you. What about Google Password Manager?
Listen, that would mess up my whole system, you know.
You're saying don't use it?
No, 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 no. I'm saying if use what is good for you. I
Okay.
know I would forget passwords. So I have a system that has like a bridge system where if it's money, it's one type of password. So my bank account's on that. If it's social media, it's a different kind. If it's for my children, it's a different kind. So I categorize my passwords
Okay.
because that's how my brain works. I'm not telling you how to do your passwords. I'm just saying, and I try to change it every quarter. Every once in a while it goes to 6 months. But some people have passwords, the same password for years upon years. And if you enter your passwords these days online, there are bots and there are cookies that can keep your password and log into your accounts. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So let's not make it easy for someone to hack us.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're at 8:04.
Sorry, my only comment was that YouTube has strict policies about children. So
Yeah,
that is
they do.
actually the only thing that I use. And I only have I have things for children. I only have one or perhaps two with a child doing signing. And of course, his mother was the person who brought him there to do that for us. And he was signing for other children. It was, to try to encourage deaf children. But the sort of passing to let other people manage your policy for you, in that you just endorse their policy or comply with their policy, a place like YouTube, that is what I have been doing.
And YouTube is very, very good with that as well. Some platforms, as long as you have access, you have access. So it's and this is now us as adults, as parents, as to kind of put those guardrails in place, those policies in place. My children, I think for a long time they didn't have their own email. Everything went through my email account.
Okay.
Them big no. So, but then I realized, if for some of you, if you get an email from M Lynch, it's because everybody in my house have that initial. So
Okay.
so it really is a family email, These are just some things that you can do to kind of govern your house and govern your church. I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Ferguson, so we can take a quick break and then we can come back.
Okay. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. You made me a co-host. Marsha, did you make me a co-host? Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did. This is what happens when you running all the stuff in the background.
Give me a second. Yeah, you made me a co-host, yes.
I just did, yes.
All right, I'm gonna play a song that I wrote for my nephew. His birthday came recently.